Resourceful Designer, episode 302, Stop Wasting Time on Time Management.
Welcome to the Resourceful Designer podcast, offering solutions to streamline your graphic and web design business so you can get back to designing. And now your host, who's kept the same home screen image on every cell phone he's owned, Mark Dickhout.
That's right. I originally found it when I had my very first iPhone, an iPhone 4, and I've transferred it and used it on every smartphone I've had since. And in case you're curious, it's a wallpaper image of the logo to my favorite NHL hockey team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Go Leafs, go! In this episode of Resourceful Designer, I want to talk to you about the misconceptions of time management and how it may not be exactly what you think it is. But before I get to that, I just want to remind you about the Resourceful Designer community. We are waiting for you to join. The community is a collection of designers from around the world who are helping each other out, holding each other accountable, giving advice, seeking advice, and building relationships and partnerships within, and so much more. The people within the community have told me over and over how much it means to them to be part of it and how it's helped to improve their business. Working from home can be lonely, it can be stressful, and many people think of the Resourceful Designer community as their fellow office comrades. We're there to help you when you need a hand, to offer advice or critiques, and we're just there to laugh along with you if you want to share something crazy that a client did or said to you. It's so much fun. Now, there is a limit to how many people can join the community, and I don't want you to miss out if you've been on the fence for it. So if you're curious to know what it's all about, visit resourcefuldesigner.com/community and consider joining today. Now, stop wasting time on time management. I've been in the graphic design space for over 30 years. I've been running my own home-based design business since 2005, and I've been doing this podcast since 2015. Now, in all that time, I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of designers, be it graphic designers, web designers, UI and UX designers. I've talked to generalists and specialists alike, those who focus on a certain niche. And I've talked to design strategists, design consultants, design directors, and even design influencers. And when asked what their biggest struggle is, there are two answers that really come out on top almost every time. One is finding new clients, which we can all relate to, but two is time management. And it's that latter one that I want to discuss with you today. What exactly is time management? Well, according to dictionary.com, time management is the analysis of how working hours are spent and the prioritization of tasks to maximize personal efficiency in the workspace. Sounds simple enough, doesn't it? You analyze how you spend your time and then prioritize what you need to do to maximize efficiency. But if it was that simple, why do so many people struggle with it? I mean, if time management was so easy, there wouldn't be thousands or hundreds of thousands of different quote-unquote solutions addressing it. A search on Amazon returns over 70,000 books covering the subject of time management. YouTube has over 500,000 videos on time management. And Google has over 80 million search results. Time management is such a popular topic because everyone, and I emphasize everyone, has problems with it. Well, let me share a revelation with you today. Time is impossible to manage. Contrary to confusing movies such as Tenet, time moves in one direction at a steady pace. I mean, you can actually set your clocks by it. So you're not actually trying to manage time. You're trying to manage how you go about your day while time continues at its own pace, totally ignorant of your plight. If you're looking at your fellow designers and thinking, they seem so organized, I don't know how they do it, I'll let you in on a little secret. They're thinking the exact same thing about you. Everybody wants tips, tricks, techniques to be able to get more things done, to do things faster, to be more productive, more efficient, and to work better. But the truth of the matter is, stressing over these things actually makes you slower, less productive, less efficient, and impedes your work. In my opinion, the only people who succeed with time management, and I don't mean succeed at time management, I'm saying succeed with time management, are those with something to gain from it. Meaning the authors of all those books on Amazon, the creators of all those YouTube videos, and the writers of all those articles found through Google. What's that saying? If you want to make money, find a solution to a popular problem? Well, that's what these people are doing, offering a solution in order to make money. But are they really addressing the problem? I doubt it, because if they did, then time management wouldn't be such a prevalent issue. And you know what? I can almost guarantee you that the people who created these time management assets, the books on Amazon, the YouTube videos, all the articles, those people still struggle with time management themselves. It's inevitable. Why is that? It's because of this little thing called life. I'm sure you've experienced it. It's like the military saying goes, no plan survives contact with the enemy. Similarly, no time management plan can survive contact with life. You can have the best laid out plans, everything organized down to a T, your schedule is down to the millisecond, and it all goes out the window when life happens. Your kid's school calls because they're falling sick. Well, there goes my plans. You get a flat tire on the way to a meeting. Well, there goes my plans. A storm knocks out your power. Well, there goes my plans. Your dog gets sprayed by a skunk. Well, there goes my plans. Your magic mouse dies in the middle of the day. Why, Apple? Why? There goes my plans. Life has a way of interfering with your best plans. So you just have to learn to live with it. But what about time management? I know so far I've been pretty bleak. If you started listening to this episode because you're struggling with time management and you're hoping for a solution, I haven't been that helpful so far. So let me talk a little bit about your options. First off, let me say there is no one solution when it comes to getting the most out of your time. Again, if there were, then time management wouldn't be an issue for most people. Every individual is different, and that includes you. You learn differently, you process information differently, you go about completing your tasks differently than anyone else. That's why there's no time management system that you can somehow shoehorn to fit everyone. You have to figure out what works best for you. And the solution that ends up working for you may come from many different solutions. And believe me, there are many different options and opinions regarding this topic that can leave your head spinning. Just look at this list of popular time management solutions. There's the Eisenhower matrix, getting things done, or the GTD method. There's time blocking, autofocus, the iceberg method, the Pomodoro technique, Agile Results, the Kanban system, bullet journaling, time tracking, and that's just a small sampling of some of the more popular time management systems that people talk about. So where do you start? Well, the best advice that I can give you is to start small. Trying to jump in feet first and embracing one of these systems in its entirety rarely works. What happens in most cases is the person who tries ends up feeling overwhelmed and gives up. The system fails them. You need to tackle time management in baby steps over a long enough period of time, even years. In fact, I'll even go so far as saying your time management strategy should be ever evolving. So the first thing you need to do is find one thing that you can implement into your routine and test it out. For example, you may create daily to-do lists of the tasks you want to complete. I talked about doing this way back in episode 66 of the podcast. If you find that creating to-do lists works for you, then embrace it and then move on to the next thing. And if it doesn't, then try something else. It's not a big deal. Perhaps time blocking will work for you, where you block off certain times of the day to perform specific tasks, such as saving all your invoicing for Friday mornings. Some people feel that makes them more efficient. After that, you may want to dabble with the Agile Results method, where you identify 3 tasks from your to-do list as the top priorities for today. And you make sure you tackle those ones first. Or the Eisenhower metric method that lets you divide your tasks based on their importance. You kind of score each of them, and depending on where they fall, that's the order you do them in. It really doesn't matter what you try. What you're essentially doing is using all these bits and pieces to build a system that works for you. And this process will take time, as it should. And don't be afraid to adjust and tweak your system as you go. And don't worry what other people are doing. Steal ideas from them if you want. I encourage it. Anything I share on the podcast, if you think it's a good idea, give it a try. But ultimately, you need to do what works for you. And not everything that people do or stuff that I share on the podcast is the solution for you. And things change. For years, I managed my client projects in a leather-bound notebook, and I remember talking about it many times on the podcast. I found that method very efficient. I was very organized, which allowed me to better manage my time. Then one day, I tried Plutio. It's a client management system, and I found that I liked it. Now, it's what I use. My system evolved, and my leather-bound notebook was retired to the back of my drawer. When I set up my appointment scheduler to make meeting with clients more efficient, I had it open 5 days a week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Those were my business hours, so those were the hours I should be available to meet with clients, or so I thought. Well, it didn't take me long to realize that having my meeting schedule open every day of the week impeded my productivity, making it very hard to manage my time regarding projects. So I blocked off Mondays and Fridays, allowing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays as possible meeting days. Now, my scheduling software, I use Book Like a Boss, by the way, was set up with a 1-hour buffer between meetings. Meaning, if somebody booked a meeting with me from 11 a.m. to 11:30, the software would not allow anyone to book a meeting 1 hour prior to that or 1 hour after that. This prevented the possibility of overlapping meetings should something go more than 30 minutes. Then one day, I found myself with meetings scheduled for 9:30 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 2:30 p.m., and again at 4 p.m. Well, this pretty much ruined that day for anything else. There wasn't really enough time between meetings for me to really get into the flow of designing something. Anytime I would get down and start doing something, then all of a sudden I had to start getting ready for the next meeting. So any time management I had went out the window. It was at the whim of client meetings. So I tweaked my system again. I shortened the buffer window to 30 minutes between meetings because I found that rarely did a meeting go over by that much. And I shortened my availability windows to Tuesday afternoon instead of all day, Wednesday mornings, and on Thursdays, I divided it between 9 and 11 a.m. and then again 3 to 5 p.m. Well, this opened up my schedule for me to work on projects for more extended periods of time while still being able to meet with my clients. So do what works for you and keep adjusting it until you're happy with it. A time management system should never be written in stone. It needs to be something flexible that you're constantly molding. And as you evolve, it should evolve as well. Now, before I go, I want to ask you this. Why do you need to manage your time? Is it because you're feeling overwhelmed? Is it because you're having trouble prioritizing the things you do? Is it because you're feeling stressed running your business? Do you believe managing your time better will help with any of these? Maybe there are other things affecting how you work besides time. Is that a possibility? I know that working by yourself from home can be very isolating. And what could at first appear to be a time management issue may, in fact, have to do with your mental health. If trying various time management methods doesn't seem to be helping, you may want to consult someone to see if there's an underlying issue affecting how you work. And don't worry, there's no more stigma regarding mental health like there was 10 or 20 years ago. It's entirely okay now to seek help should you need it. You're worth it. Never forget that. So as I said at the beginning, everyone suffers from time management issues. Even the so-called experts on the subject. Life sees to that. I've been in this business for over 30 years, and time management still gets the better of me more often than not. So don't feel inadequate if you're suffering from it as well. You're in good company. We'll get through this together. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And before I go, I just want to remind you one more time, if you want to talk to fellow designers about things like time management or anything else about running a business, the Resourceful Designer community is the perfect place to do it. Everybody in there is so friendly, they're so helpful, they love giving advice. And what's great is once you get to know people, then the advice they do give becomes much more valuable than those you receive from a random stranger, say on Facebook or something. So if you're looking for an accountability group, people to critique your work, help troubleshooting some website issues, seeking advice on software or other tools, or you name it, the Resourceful Designer community has it all, and we're waiting for you. You can join by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/community. We'd love to have you. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening. If you're not already, please follow the podcast, subscribe wherever you're listening right now. That way you'll never miss another episode. And if you haven't done so far, you can always leave me a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. Until next time, I am Mark Decote, wishing you all the best with your design business and hoping you figure out your time management issues. But in the meantime, stay creative.
Thanks for listening to the Resourceful Designer podcast at resourcefuldesigner.com.